Koala. Koala, Phascolarctos cinereus, also called koala bear, tree-dwelling marsupial of coastal eastern and southern Australia, classified in the family Phascolarctidae, suborder Vombatiformes. The koala is about 60 to 85 centimeters, 24 to 33 inches, long and weighs up to 14 kilograms, 31 pounds, in the southern part of its range, Victoria and South Australia, but only about half that in subtropical Queensland to the north. Virtually tailless, the body is stout and grey, with a pale yellow or cream-colored chest and mottling on the rump. The broad face has a wide, rounded, leathery nose, small yellow eyes, and big fluffy ears. The feet are strong and clawed. The two inner digits of the front feet and the innermost digit of the hind feet are opposable for grasping. Because of the animal's superficial resemblance to a small bear, the koala is sometimes called, albeit erroneously, the koala bear. The koala feeds very selectively on the leaves of certain eucalyptus trees. Generally solitary, individuals move within a home range of more than a dozen trees, one of which is favored over the others. If koalas become too numerous in a restricted area, they defoliate preferred food trees and, unable to subsist on even closely related species, decline rapidly. To aid in digesting as much as 1.3 kilograms, 3 pounds, of leaves daily, the koala has an intestinal pouch, cecum, about 2 meters, 7 feet, long, where symbiotic bacteria degrade the tannins and other toxic and complex substances abundant in eucalyptus. This diet is relatively poor in nutrients and provides the koala little spare energy, so the animal spends long hours simply sitting or sleeping in tree forks, exposed to the elements but insulated by thick fur. Although placid most of the time, koalas produce loud, hollow grunts. The koala is the only member of the family Phascolarctidae. Unlike those of other arboreal marsupials, its pouch opens rearward. Births are single, occurring after a gestation of 34 to 36 days. The youngster, called a joey, first puts its head out of the pouch at about 5 months of age. For up to 6 weeks it is weaned on a soupy predigested eucalyptus called pap that is lapped directly from the mother's anus. Pap is derived from the cecum. After weaning, the joey emerges completely from the pouch and clings to the mother's back until it is nearly a year old. A koala can live to about 15 years of age in the wild, somewhat longer in captivity. Studies suggest that there are 5 distinct populations of koalas, which began to diverge from one another sometime between 300,000 and 430,000 years ago. Formerly killed in huge numbers for their fur, especially during the 1920s and 30s, koalas dwindled in number from several million to a few 100,000, which substantially reduced the species' genetic diversity and that of 4 of the 5 individual populations, making the species susceptible to inbreeding. In the southern part of their range, koalas became practically extinct, except for a single genetically diverse population in Gippsland, Victoria. Some were translocated onto small offshore islands, especially Phillip Island, where they did so well that these koalas were used to restock much of the original range in Victoria and southern New South Wales. During the same period, some koalas were also introduced to Kangaroo Island, and later, during the 1950s and 60s, additional animals were introduced to several other coastal habitats in South Australia. Though once again widespread, koala populations and subpopulations are now scattered and separated by urban areas and farmland, which makes them locally vulnerable to extinction. Another problem is the infection of many populations with chlamydia, which makes the females infertile. The International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, IUCN, has listed the koala as a vulnerable species since 2016. The species decreased in number by nearly 28% between the years 1984 and 2012, largely because of habitat loss and fragmentation, which made the animal more susceptible to vehicle strikes and predation by dogs. Devastating drought and bushfires during the late 2010s also contributed to the decline in the number of koalas, reducing the total by an additional 30% between 2018 and 2021. As temperatures increase and the drying effects of climate change become more pronounced in Australia, wildlife officials expect that the number of koalas will decline further in the coming decades.